Well, thank you. And thanks for investing a little bit of money, a little bit of travel, a little bit of time for yourselves. Because it really is all what we prioritize in our lives. So thank you for that. When I had a chance to go, why am I here? I'm here to share something that I believe is like my secret. And I don't like secrets. So I have a big mouth and I need to share. I believe I have the secret to prevent all chronic disease. In fact, I know I do. And the other practitioners that are here sharing things that are going to be about trusting your body, about honoring your body, about tools to help you through what you're going through without fear. So the goal of today is to, anything that you do within yourself, if it's feeding or nourishing your spirit, your physical body, or your mind, is right. If it's a belief you hold in you, it's right. If it's somebody else's belief, it may not be right. So whatever you hear today, just listen. Go, that feels right, that feels right. Don't judge it, and you may not be ready, because some of the information that, when I first learned it, kind of went into like a weak shock, like, what? But I learned this, and I learned this, and that's not the truth. And I was like, whoa. So it's okay. Any emotion that comes up, you can start crying if you want. It's okay. So I am going to present German New Medicine. And German New Medicine is the understanding of what your body is doing, from why it is doing it, the conflict, what happened, because when we go to the doctors, they don't tell you why. Like, why do I have this rash? Why do I have this gut? Why do I have this fibromyalgia? They can't ever tell you why. So we're going to talk about the whys today. And then the process. And then honoring the process. And some different tools that we can use during the process. So are we ready? And I'm a little hyper just in my normal stance. So my presentation today is usually what I do with a one-on-one. We usually take an hour and I'll go through the basis of German New Medicine, what happens, the foundation. So this is a PDF that I can send you with your permission. Is anybody against receiving a PDF? It's a 4-pager, you can print it, whatever. Okay, so great, we'll do that. So the first thing is, so my story is on my website. I'm not going to waste the time because I want to get to the root. But the summary is, I've been studying natural healing theories for 30 years. 8 years really focused. I invested about $30,000 in a tool and education and other stuff because I thought I could get to the root of something. But yet, my partner had lymphoma. He had a growth that just kept growing and growing and growing, and sometimes double in size. And I was sitting with still 13 symptoms in my body that sometimes the stuff would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And I was like, we're missing something. So I actually stopped doing what I was doing and went. And then my partner had this. So I was like, so I found German New Medicine. So here's the story. So that's a little my story. Dr. Hammer, 40 years ago. I'm going to give you the snippets of his story. Sleeping one night, gets a phone call. Your son has been shot. And anything that I say, just be a witness to it. Don't take it on as yours. I said that one time, and one lady went, well, understand why we shouldn't do that. So we're going to start witnessing things and just be. Everything's okay, whether it's in here or out there. Just be a witness. So your son's been shot. The son ended up passing away because of the injuries about 3 months later. 3 months after that, the mom has breast cancer. She's a right-handed woman, and she had breast cancer in her left breast, intraductal, and he has prostate cancer. He happens to be working in oncology. So I imagine this is how it went. He went to all men with testicular cancer. he went to all the men with testicular cancer and said, what was going on in your life around the time that you found that? In 100% of the cases, there was a sudden, unexpected loss of a child, an animal that was like a child, or a business that was like a child. 100%. Go to the women that had intraductal breast cancer, what was going on in your life? Same thing. It's the same cause, the same unexpected shock. So you all looked at this. This is what happens in the brain when you're going along and you get the phone call, you get an email, you get somebody blast you in the face with their verbal accusations. That's what happens in an area of your brain. So there's like 200 different areas in your brain that weren't all there. Like our brain, all about evolution. Our old brain up to our new brain. Okay, so depending on, let me just go back. So Dr. Hammer, sorry. There's so many little, like I could do an hour on each one, so I just want to. So Dr. Hammer, basically over the 40 years of studying, created this book. It's a conflict theme associated with every single little symptom. So this is the secret. And anybody can get this. So it's not a secret. It is accepted in one country as okay. So
What's that? Where?
Nicaragua, I think, or something. One of those, and I might be wrong, but it's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like Canada. Someday.
But it's so, unconventional, right? That most conventional medical places have shunned it.
As we understand, when we understand just cancer, we'll understand why it is. Cancer is a big business.
Oh, multi-billion-dollar business.
Yes. So in here, somebody can call me and they say, I have this symptom, and I'll go. A lot of them I'm memorizing now, and I understand, but it's all in there. Cool? Cool so far?
Very cool.
Okay, so that's the first step. So over the course of his first few years, he learned that there were 5 biological laws of healing. So we've been taught a lot about theories, the germ theory, the virus theory. They're theories because they doesn't always work. But a law, like law of gravity always happens. So Dr. Hammer learned that there's 5 biological laws of healing. And I'm just going to give you the snippets because there's a YouTube video that Caroline, one of my mentors, does. And you can really, really understand it. So, first is, and this is where I get to draw. Okay, I just got to move this a little. Will this move all together or will it crash?
The back leg is a little
I'll leave it right
longer.
here. Okay, so the first biological laws, I just want to follow what I'm doing. Okay, so first biological law is unexpected shock. Bam. So you're walking and you watch an accident. And it's your dog. Your baby, only baby. So right then and there, however you perceive the world, your psyche, like it can be you, your husband, your child, and another child. You will all perceive that incident differently. You may all have similar perceptions, like, oh, my baby, but you'll all perceive it differently. So remember, there's 200 little spots, I call them portals. So however you perceive that incident is where you will get these conflicts. So if you perceive that like a death fright, a scare fright, so death fright is lungs, and you may write these down, because this is not a secret. Anytime you have a death fright, that's the lungs. A diagnosis could be a death fright. My family dies of that. It's not genetic. Scare fright. So again, we're back on watching our animal get run over. Scare fright. I'm scared. Like I just saw, there's blood, That's the esophagus, the upper 2/3. That stinks. Like, like it might physically sting too when you're moving the animal. So that's the nose. Like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. That's actually the right eye. What else could it be? Loss of my baby. So if it's the female, that's her, she's right-handed, that's the left side. Boom. If it's the man, that's the left testicle. If he perceives that as their baby. Not everybody does, I don't. I just cats. Son, babies. My babies. And you can tell just by listening. So all 5 of us are watching this, just having different bam, 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 bam. So we can walk away like right then and there. I'll guarantee all 5 of us have cold hands. Conflict active. That's about one of the few symptoms. So, yeah. Dan, could you just help me move this a little bit? Kind of.
Yeah, that's what you-
You move to the dark. There. Great. I used to be on stage and I could never do that. They'd yell, Dupa! Don't put your butt to the stage.
Well, it depends who trains you though.
Yes.
My trainer says you do that so people can't read what you're writing, and so they're really curious. And they pay attention.
Oh. I'm going to get big shoulders. So actually, I like to show while we're doing it. So this is day, night, day, night, day, night flow. That's our normal. Just going, going, going. Bam. We're walking. This is the incident. This is the car hits our cat. So right then, we're all in conflict active. So this is conflict active. A doctor may say you're in fight or flight, or sympathetic or sympathetic.
Sympathetic.
I always get it mixed up. So sympathetic, because we all have sympathy. I remember now. So right then and there, wherever these shocks are, there's a body part correlated to it. So our throat, our nose, our eye, our lungs, our testicle, or our breast. Just in those. So right then and there, the program's running. So that's when I say the program's running. So something starts changing within those organs, not for a bad thing, because ultimately, we're going to come back here and go back to normal. So when we get over here, we are always stronger, better built, more muscles, ready to handle the next conflict of the same category. This is how we got out of the water. When we were fish, we got out, we didn't even have arms, and we got out, and we were like, my partner's neck, that was frontal fear. That was 2 conflicts in the front, always afraid of what's coming, what's coming, what's coming. Worry of the future. Live in the now, so you don't get a lump on your neck. Well, it's kind of a joke, but it's not a joke, but it is a joke.
Right.
And hopefully you remember, because I should have been a comedian, but instead I'm doing German New Medicine. So remember this. That is the goal. We always come out stronger. So back to the accident. So right then, and you don't have to remember these, but certain parts of the brain create cell division. Tumors, cysts. They're not bad. Okay? So old brain, basically all your primary organs, and it's like the pancreas, pancreatic tumor, liver tumors, breast tumors, all those. Anything that creates a tumor is run by the old brain or part of the cerebellum. That's the transitional brain. You don't have to remember that. So right here, everything that is run by this part of the brain, you start growing little tumors. Okay? Little extra cells. It's like you burn yourself. It goes, and you know it's going to go down, and then it goes down. Nobody freaks out. It's a tumor. That's what they're saying about our body when we have a conflict. They freak out and cause us to freak out and causes all kinds of family financial issues because we went through it. That's right. Serious. So there's a change of cells. So if it's run by one part of the brain, you'll either have cell division And if it's run by the newer part of the brain, you actually have necrosis. You have little perforations in the tendons and the ligaments and the bone and the whatever. They call that cancer as well. Bone cancer is holes in the bone. It's extra cells here, but it's holes in the bone. Interesting. So, if your conflict, and different ones will resolve themselves, but let's just say one of the kids is like, oh, that's great, that's fine. We'll go bury him and we just get on with it. They resolve their conflict usually much sooner, right? So a kid will just have a short program. So all here, there's either cell division or cell loss. And that night, let's say, let's go get another pet at 5 o'clock. And it just happened at 1. So that's what they do. They're like, okay, next, let's try this again. So that night, probably in the middle of the night, right as soon as they resolve it, so this next stage is resolution. Resolution. And spelling does not count today. Okay? Resolution. So right then and there, conflict's over, hands warm up. Oh, my new little kitty, that's so nice. That little kid. So they go into this phase, and we won't do all the details of this, and then this phase. And then we go back to there. So what happens here? If there was cell division, which is tumors, it'll break down here. How does it break down? You have little secret DNA, like a lot of DNA that's hanging out, waiting to be used. DNAs that create tuberculin, all kinds of bacteria, all kinds of fungi. They're all just dormant until they're needed. So the death fright that little child had for a little quick, and it affected their lung, there's a little bacteria called tuberculin. Has anybody ever heard of tuberculosis? Yes. Tuberculin actually is inspired to wake up, come break down this tissue that was built up. And then, so it gets broken down, break down with helpful bacteria. If they're present. Now, how would they not be present? Miss Dr. Karen, would you have the answer to that?
How would they not be present?
Yes. Why would somebody not have proper bacteria in their body?
Well, I don't know about TB, but
Any bacteria.
Well,
Why would you?
antibiotics. They
Yes.
took antibiotics.
They took too many antibiotics
Or
as a
other
child.
drugs.
It will kill what we have naturally in our body. So if this little child has, like, let's say 1,000 million cells, which can happen, and they don't have the bacteria to break it down, what the magical body will do is it'll go, I'm going to encapsulate it. And it's going to stay there forever and ever. Amen. Is it going to bother anybody? It's done growing. Conflict's over. It's great. And
Until
the
someone
story.
sees it on a CAT scan and go, ah!
Yes.
That's what happened to my aunt recently. They
Yes.
saw
So you can
this-
basically
this thing in
say,
her lung and she freaked out. And I was
so
like,
when she freaks out, or another scenario when they say, oh, you have a cat encapsulated, she's like, I'm not worried about that. That's when my cat got run over when I was 5. It's no big deal. I got another cat. So encapsulated, because someday you're going to go into the doctor's, or you're going to be with a friend, or somebody's going to tell you something. And this is where I get really like, and they're going to go, oh, they just forced me, or you hear about it after. Like, they said I had it encapsulated and I had to get it removed so quickly, so I just had it removed. Whoosh. Gone. Didn't need to. It was just happily ever after there. And the body will do that any place. Now, there is a time, if it's like in a canal or something, if it's a really long conflict, because if this, let's go to mom. Mom is just, she's a wreck. She loved this baby. This is 20-year-old Katie, we're on the cat, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so this is her baby, and she'll never replace it, and blah, blah, blah. And that causes some tension with the little one because, so that conflict she doesn't let go of. Shall we, maybe 10 years. We'll give her a 10-year conflict. So she's dividing cells for 10 years. How big do you think that might get? Depending on how she looks at pictures every night. Oh, my baby, I miss my baby. Blah. And I'm being a little dramatic, but I can't. So she's got this. And then she sees this new cat or somebody delivered and it gets lost. And it's like, so she resolves her conflict. What happens then? What happens? Somebody say,
Solution.
there's a resolution. Got a new cat. I'll get over that one. Done. So what comes next? So if you've got a tumor, I don't know if it'd be that big, depending on how, I don't know. You're going to have some symptoms. So here's what happens upon the breakdown. And so this is what's called the epicrisis. And the best example of crisis, of an epicrisis, is contractions before you give birth. Okay, you get that? Like, oh no, we can't have, no, shut those down. Keep that in you. No, you need to get it out. So, most people that come to you and they have just onslaught of sudden symptoms. Why, Mary, you're just at the epicrisis. They're at the epicrisis. That's the maximum, that's the final push, that's the final breakdown. It can be ugly, it can be smelly, it can be gross, it can be, and you really have to have, depending on what's being broken down, you have to have faith of what you're doing. Now there is a time when if you have a big tumor and the epicrisis, and you know German New Medicine, let's say you're sitting here and go, oh, I've been holding on to this and I have a lump and man, oh. You may decide for yourself that I don't want to go through natural healing. And this is the power of knowledge. With certain knowledge, you can say, I choose to go on in. I choose to have the doctor gently remove it. Because if it's going to be a heavy-duty epicrisis, which some can be, and they're ugly, and you have to have a lot of faith and a lot of support. But if it's going to be ugly, you can choose to go in and have whatever procedure done, because it's your body. Last I knew, we still own our bodies. So that's a side note, and that's huge, because a lot of people will come to us and, I just want to go natural, I want to go natural, I want to go natural. But if you don't have support, and you don't have knowledge, and like a good team to go natural, you may not want to. And so this is about providing information so that you can make the best decisions that present themselves for your current situation. So epicrisis you have. Actually, a lot of flus look like epicrisis. They're the symptoms. So what's symptoms of flu? Fever, tiredness, body aches.
Nasal congestion,
So,
running.
let's just stop right there. Fibromyalgia, profound fatigue, insomnia, widespread chronic pain. Kind of looks like here to start with.
Yep. And
So-
they often will say, I mean, the real ones that are really bad and disabled say that they feel like they've been hit by a truck and they just can't get over the flu.
Great. So, and I'm planting a seed right now. So, more pain, and in the brain. So remember, we're healing on all three. Our spirit is healing. Our brain tissue that has that hit. On an MRI, first it will look like that, in conflict active. And when somebody's in this phase, it will look a little different. When they're in this phase, it will look like, it will be dark around it. And then when it's over here, we'll have calcification. And that's what it will look like on the brain scan and the body part. So, let's take, does this make sense so far? Yeah. Anybody want to leave? Great. you go. So that's it. So that's just the old brain, the brainstem, right? Brainstem, yes. So the opposite happens, and we won't go through all the details, but the opposite happens for this, the frontal, give me the name for our new brain.
Oh, the neocortex?
The
White matter?
our newer part of the brain basically controls our bones, our cartilage, our tendons, our ligaments, and our lymph. It's all controlled, and I'll give you, this one's really cool. Let's say this together.
Self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation is what we think about ourselves and how we beat ourselves up. I'm too fat there. I'm not pretty there. Oh, I hurt. So here's where, so the other program, so this is a huge program of all our new part of our brain. So I'm going to weave this in. So basically what happens is, in this phase, there's necrosis. So there's little holes poked into our little, let me give a specific example. I want to tie it into the mom. The mom's all intense, and for 10 years, oh, let's do this. Let's say dad goes, wife, get over it. And she says, he doesn't support me. Like that's lower back. So not being supported is specifically lower back. Also could be a conflict about relationships, which is shoulder. So if she's a right-handed woman, his side would be the right shoulder. How many right-handed women do we have? Because I'll give you your. Okay, and we can do a clap test to see if your strong hand is on the hitter. That would be the right hand. Let's do a quick clap test. Because that is so often. Our mother-child side is the left side. So this goes for males and females. So many symptoms that we have on the left side, we can go, it's not their fault. Just so you know, it's not their fault. It's your interpretation of them. So let's take this. So he doesn't support me because I lost my baby. And it becomes to be a relationship issue. So she starts getting shoulder pains because she's crying every day, so she's in conflict active about the loss, and then it becomes the relationship, so she's breaking down cells here and here. She's not supportive. Whatever. So then it becomes, so all day she breaks down tissues here and here, and then at night, when she can't think and she's sleeping, she goes into healing. So the body goes, okay, calcium, minerals, come repair this. So in the morning, it's repaired, and they start the whole circuit back over. So in the morning, they're basically here, which the new muscles, remember, the body is always making us stronger out here. So the new muscles in the morning, the tendon, everything's stretching because it's stronger now. And so there's going to be more pain in the morning. Does this make sense to most people that come in with pain? It's always worse in the morning.
Yeah,
or in the middle of the night, because they're here. So then it just starts over. So this is what's called tracking. Tracking is what keeps us in chronic conditions. So, the key to life is to realize when you have cold hands, when you're in conflict active, is to get out of the conflict as soon as you can. And today we're going to learn different skills to do that, different coping, different breathings, different yoga techniques. So we want a short conflict active, because would you rather break down 1,000 cells or a lump the size of, how big was that?
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit?
Well,
Almost. It was getting there. And that is all in how we react to things. We can't stop things from pinging our brain, but we can go, okay, there's possible things going on. I don't know where they hit, and it doesn't matter. But I'm going to try to let go of this. I'm going to journal, I'm going to whatever. Okay? Does that make enough sense to get a little bit specific with different things? Okay. I drink to that. Okay. So, let me just make sure that, happy crisis, great, did that, perfect. Okay, the other thing. All right, so we talk about tracking. Let me give you a specific example. So when that family saw their dog get hit by a red truck, I just added that detail. Cat and dog. The little girl that was just like her mom, she was like, oh, Mom, a red truck hit my cat and dog. It's a stink conflict. So when she gets over that, she'll have a runny nose.
why is it a stink conflict?
That stinks that my cat just, so the stink conflict is, that stinks.
Okay.
Like, that situation stinks. Animals have it in the real sense of perfumes and smells and whatever. We, because we have this new part of our brain, we are figurative, so we can say that situation stinks. And it's amazing to watch this one. This was really cool. Because my partner is the master of stink conflict, and he's getting better. And I'm the queen of I can't digest this. So we're going to talk about the gut, which is the conflict associated with I can't digest this. So that little girl, right at the moment that that shock happens, they didn't expect it, whatever the psyche could pick up on anything in the environment. Smells, the smells of fuel, the sight of a red truck, the color that came off the Magnum wheels, I don't know, are they Magnum wheels or whatever, anything, the shoes that they had on, the ice cream that they were holding, the dairy that they were holding, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that they were holding and eating. Peanut butter is an allergy. So right at that moment, that psyche records some things. So when they're out of the conflict and they see those things again, it reminds them, last time you had peanut butter, you were in danger. So you basically come right back to here. And it's a warning signal that says, remember, you're in danger. Because the last time peanut butter and ice cream and red trucks were around, you were in danger. So why something can be chronic is because of the tracks that are associated with conflicts. It can happen watching your family fight. It can happen anywhere. So we blame food. Poor food. Food is awesome. So with the knowledge of German New Medicine, like I can eat anything now. I'm trying to learn not that I don't have to eat it, but I can. I can eat sugar, I can eat wheat, because everything, unless it was out of the garden, was on my off list. And I threw some simple, basic understanding here and some working of me is my work. Nobody else can do it. So that's tracking. So the other key component is what's called the existence program. So the existence program is a program that involves the kidney, you don't have to remember this, but kidney collecting tubules. Kidneys are about water. So if you think of existence, I have a slide that's little girl on an island alone. So I'm all alone. So these themes, there's like 5. I bombed out, I'm all alone. Like me doing a business like this in Tupper Lake was very lonely for the first 6 years. Like nobody understood me. So that was, I had a lot of existence kind of, you're there, now we're together. Kristen does Reiki and yoga and stuff, so she's my sister now. We're all sisters and brothers. So when you get a diagnosis shock that you perceive, I'm going to die, we'll put this syndrome in place. When you do your research, like if you go to the doctors and they tell you something that you have, and you're like, in 10 years I'm going to die. My aunt died of it. Like if you believe you're going to die. So if you have an accident and you're like, oh shit, I wonder if I'm going to die. Can I swear? I can swear.
Yes, we're all adults.
I think it's too late.
Stop.
So whenever you have that existence program, here's what happens. The kidney collecting tubules close up and water is retained by the body. So any place, including all those little pings that are on your brain, water will go to. Any place that's healing in the body. So does anybody get bloating in the belly? Yeah. So that's an active conflict of I can't digest this, someplace, whether it's small intestine, large intestine, and they all have different specific, like a finer tuned category. But it's indigestible morsel and then something. So when you have a program running, then the existence program, they shut off and water goes to any healing part. Old people, you see swollen legs? Yeah. And sometimes it's just the right, sometimes it's just the left. And like I can look at the body and go, here's what's going on. She's afraid of dying, she's alone, she's whatever. So it's really cool. So when I say, when you're marching through your health journey and you get diagnosis, as if you choose to go get memory, those tests and whatnot, if you do it with somebody that has the same belief structure than you, that's a huge, huge piece. Because then you won't ever go into existence program. You'll work yourself out of it quicker because you have somebody. So if you want to go natural, let's say you were just diagnosed with something and you're like, I want to go natural, but your family's going, no, you have to chemo and radiation, and I'm not against those. There's a time and a place based on your belief system. But if you're doing it alone, it's probably not the best thing. So if I were to encourage you to do one thing, get a friend, get a family member that can learn this with you, or at least have your same values in understanding. Don't do anything medically alone because it can have pretty serious consequences. I'll give, so when my partner, it was probably a 9-month little lump, grow. Every so often it would grow overnight. And here's why. Because we were having little battles in our relationship. And every so often I would say, you know what, why don't I just go to Burlington, I'll go visit my daughter, let's just have a couple days. Every time I did that, it would blow up double the size. Why would that be? Well, after it was all said and done, and I really learned German New Medicine, I was like, so what was going on? What were you thinking when I went to Burlington? He was like, if you leave me, I'm toast, was his exact word. So he was in the existence program, and that's why it blew up. What's that?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes left. Well, I started late. So I started late. I think I did. Great. So that's an example. So let me just give you, so that's really cool. Stay out of the existence program. Lyme. My daughter had Lyme. So remember when I talked about the bacterias? All bacterias and fungus are helpful. And I touched on it. But here's what, there's 5 bacterias that are involved in Lyme. What happens is, so where's Lyme? Joints, right? It's about joints.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. My daughter she was shaving. She nicked herself. She went swimming in a pool that hadn't been cleaned. So when you nick yourself, that's an attack conflict. So I got attacked. Oh, I hope it's okay. She went swimming in a really ugly pool. It was dirty. And she was like, oh, fear, little existence program, will make a symptom worse. So so it started spreading. And then more fear on top of it. So she does yoga. She teaches yoga. And so the fear, and this went on over the first 5-10 days, and it just kept getting worse because she was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then it started, the self-devaluation was a medium one. It started affecting the ligaments, the joints, the mobility. So she couldn't bend down very well. So that's this hip. Then what happened is if she can't bend down teaching her yoga, knees are about performance. Like when you stand up and you go, oh, my knees, that's self-devaluation. You go breakdown of tissue and then build up of tissue. If you do that every day, talking about your wrist, ow, 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 you're breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. It doesn't have a chance. Oh, I love how you're working. Like you've got to, we'll talk about that a little bit further. So I can't perform my yoga. I don't have the mobility here. I can't perform more existence because if I can't perform, I don't get paid. I can't pay my bills. And it just became this cycle. So the bacteria that gets tested sometimes with Lyme is actually what shows up here to fix the cartilage, to fix everything. So ultimately, in working with somebody with Lyme, as you figure out what happened first, what was the series of events, and to break it, to stop self-devaluing, to do the light therapy and the patches and reduce the inflammation, and ice is awesome. Ice on the brain. Side note, heart attacks are here. Anybody having a heart attack around you, get bags of ice, bags of peas, or
Both
whatever.
sides or one side?
Well, there's 2 types of heart attacks. And one's over here, one's over here. I'm not teaching that today. I don't even know them. Get them to both sides. If every emergency rescue squad learned that, we'd save more people. It slows down because a heart attack is here. Epilepsy is here. Seizures is here. If we don't track, it's the last one. But if we track, we have another. If we interrupt this at any phase, we go back to the beginning, the Monopoly game. So honor and trust the body to move through things, do anything that feeds, nourishes any part of your belief system and your body.
So you're saying that co-infections of Lyme are helping to resolve something?
So we've been told they're infections, so they're not infections, but the presence of those bacteria are actually repairing. They're in the repair.
So, but Lyme was probably invented by man, so how do we have millions of years of data of that they're not infections?
I think there's actually a paper on Lyme, so we can take this further. I've not studied it specifically.
It makes sense with the fungi for sure, and the TB, they're really, really old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but our bone structure is new. It's run by this. So, and one of the 5 biological laws, number 4, it shows when the bacteria show up. So bacteria and fungi, and we can talk about that. So that's our 202 whatever. So let me just see, digestive, indigestible morsel. And stomach is about anger. So this kind of happened to me just yesterday. Quick story. 2 days ago. This lady, I was in New York City visiting somebody, this lady came up and she was like, I'm grumpy. And I'm like, oh, that's great. She offered me something that I couldn't see because I didn't have my glasses on. I'd never seen it before. It was a grilled artichoke. I'd never seen that before. We don't have them in Tupperware. And I was like, I thought it was a muffin. I couldn't even tell what she said. I thought it was a muffin, and I slowly responded to her, and she was like, well, you're not having one. And I was like, bitch. I didn't really say that, but I was like, how can you, I couldn't digest that. And so I basically I'm like, okay, this is possible conflict going on here. So I said, let me do your shopping for the lady that I was with, and I removed myself, and as I was walking, like, the acid. So in an animal, it's about a bone getting stuck, generally. So in the stomach, more acid comes. It's the purpose of breaking down the bone. So, and then there's different things in different places to get that bone out. So as soon as I acknowledge, and there's simple ABCs of healing that I teach, I acknowledge the conflict. B, I'll just get, and then change perspective. I'm like, okay, I want my digestive portal to close. I don't want to perceive this anymore. And so I had to do some of my work to change my perception about bitchy people. Just people that have had grumpy days. Like I can witness that a little bit better. So I need to practice witnessing. So, that was packed. Thyroid I can talk to you after. Yes. Thyroid basically is I had something, I couldn't get it. It depends on what one was, so we can talk about that. And the story always matches up with the symptom. Gluten intolerance could be a belief, but it could be you had a conflict that gluten was involved, and it's now a track for you. Was it you that asked about gluten?
Yeah, I just asked.
Yes. Poor gluten. Gluten's been around for, I'm not saying that it's like wonder nutrient, but it's really being beat up as far as being the cause of things. Because if you didn't have that conflict on your brain, if you didn't have that ping on your digestive, on your stomach, you wouldn't have any response. We've been eating gluten for billions of years.
What about like urinary tract stuff?
It's a marking conflict. Yeah, like you move in with somebody and it's their space, it's your space. It's your space, it's their space. I gotta pee more, so it's actually to create more pee so you can go around and you can pee just like animals do. That's a great one. I have a couple stories of that.
Actually, grains haven't really been eaten, except the last 10,000.
Well, I just wanted to
Been
give
around
the
for
short
6
cut.
million.
We're getting, but ideally our bodies adapt. Like all this is we have a conflict, our bodies adapt, we stop, our bodies go, and it readjusts. Like that's how we got here. That's why we stand with arms and we're still not finished. So, and our brain can actually back it up because it's magical. My time is over.
Thank you,
So I'm going to be here. Dan, we'll talk about your stink conflict.
Well, why don't, if you have one more, we're gonna find the rest of our group.
Okay.
So you have a couple minutes.
Okay.
Also, quick question, just in terms of the housekeeping, did folks register at the box office?
Yes,
They did.
they're all
All
in.
right, okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll get our comrades and we'll do our.
So I love the stink conflict because I get to watch it.